So very quickly, I am going to talk very briefly, hopefully, yeah, half an hour later, about the Mercury II and about how to basically maybe mitigate, 50% of your problems at least, just by cleaning it out with a very simple hack, I want to say. I left my camera up there with the slow shutter. This is going to be like really the only problem that it's not going to be the only problem, but this is going to be most of the problems that you're going to get with Mercury II. I've talked about this camera before. I love it. I'm in love with the Universal Camera Corporation. I'm in love with all their products, and I am absolutely in love with the Mercury II. And this is a camera that was basically, it was a revolutionary camera, and one of the things that it was revolutionary about it, was the fact that it had the fastest shutter speed. When it came out, it goes up to, it goes up to 1/1000th of a second, which at the time, the Mercury II is was a follow through of the Mercury CC, which actually took Univex Zero film, which is basically Kodak 138. Am I saying that right? It's the same film stock that the Bantam took, and it was manufactured after Universal released their Univex Zero film 00, and so this is a camera that has a rotary shutter, which is why it has this very distinctive arch to it, this very beautiful Art Deco-ish type of look, because it has a rotary shutter, and this is the housing for the rotary shutter that's actually housed in there and spins around. And the shutter speeds on the camera are not, basically, they don't go faster or slower depending on the shutter speeds. The disc spins around at the same exact speed, and it's basically a little pie slice. It's very much like a shutter curtain, except it's a shutter disc. So just listen to this for a second, and this is a half frame camera. This has, in fact, I'll just make sure that I'm going to get this right, and if I have to take a picture a foot and a half away, I can still do it, and you can still hear it, right? That's a sound of a. I haven't shutter tested this, but it's pretty accurate. I've got my film developed, and I'll show you what a slow camera. I'll show you what a slow shutter sounds like. This is my display wall. Excuse me. And usually I'm comparing the Stereo Realist and the Mercury II because there's a lot of overlap in design that was kind of like, I don't want to say stolen outright, but I'm gonna hint and suggest at it. So let me just take, this is the first camera that ever had a hot shoe flash on it. This was designed by George Kende for the Universal Camera Corporation. He's a genius of a designer. And I will, hold on a second, I've done this before, and let's just hope, yes, there's no film in it. I've done that many times, actually. But, so let me show you what a slow shutter sounds like on this. I'll just, show you it and let you hear it first. I'm not going to shoot it in any particular way, but you hear that. That was a very sluggish, I don't even think, sometimes it actually doesn't go through the full revolution. It gets stuck. So if you have a camera, if you purchased a Mercury II, if you purchased a Mercury CC that you have to cut maybe 120 film, 120 film down for, this is something that you might want to how do I service my camera? And this is a trick. Let's just say this is the first step that I would take. I was doing a lot of research on this online before I purchased one of my. Before I purchased the second Mercury II that I got. The first one that I got was I purchased it just because it was inexpensive, and it was something that I always wanted, and I fell in love with the camera, and I keep on buying them as long as they are within my price range that I want to pay. So I'm going to put this down to I'm going to set this on bulb so I can hold the shutter open, and let's see if I can get this lined up nice. All right, so I'm gonna just show you, let me put it not on bulb first. I'm gonna put it all the way fast. I'm gonna put it on 1/1000th, right? So right? You could see that happening, and that's not what you want to see in a camera. And this is how you wind it, by the way. There's a winding dial. It's one of the most tactile. It's one of the most expressive and tactile and very fun cameras to use. If you have ADD, you will love this camera. I'm just saying. So I'm going to set this on bulb for a second, and this is how you set your shutter speed over here. I'm not even going to do the f-stop. There's such a very small, like, hair whisker of a line. I honestly, I actually just, like, kind of judge it by looking at it. It's a lot easier, and it has a distance scale for your focusing, and really, this is something that you could very much shoot blind, as long as you know where your settings are, and I, like, even know, without looking, I could probably, I'll guarantee that that is, like, 1.5 feet, and if I put it down here, right at the bottom, like at 6 o'clock, it's going to be 3 feet, which it is, right? And then you can, like, feel it around. Like, I could tell that's 6 feet. I could tell that is 15 feet right there, and I could tell that's all the way up. So this is something that I set it on bulb right now, so I'm going to try to catch the light so you can see the shutter open and close. Let's see if I can do that. Right, so I have it on bulb right now. I have my finger on the trigger, right? And I'm letting it go. And you could hear that. You could hear that vrip. So I swear to God, this is, like, one of the easiest ways that, like, this was one of the reasons why I got this camera also, was, like, I'm like, if I need to service it, who's going to service it for me? I'm going to have to, like, learn how to fix another camera, and I'm not that good at it yet. And so these have a removable lens. This is a roll and sack. And this comes right out. And what I'm going to show you is not a traditional way of fixing anything, right? So I took the lens off, and now that the lens is off, there's really nothing in this camera besides metal components, and it's one of the simplest designs that has ever existed in a camera. It uses a rotary shutter. I've fixed this camera this way, and I will tell you just from experience, wrap it in plastic wrap before you do this. So, oh, where's my plastic wrap? Oh my God. I know, it was because it was, like, coming off the roll wrong, and, like, I couldn't, like, you know, it's, like, kind of, like, it's like, what am I gonna do? Like, you know, what am I gonna do? Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna, like, take a little piece of plastic wrap, and I'm just gonna, like, wrap the bottom of the camera, because what I'm gonna do right now is dump lighter fluid in it. Swear to God. And what that's going to do is basically clear out, not, like, really the only thing that ever gets wrong with the shutter on this camera is that it is 80 years old. Like, this is a camera that was, this one specifically, the Mercury II, came out in 1938. So what is that, like 80, it's like 80 something years. And within 80 something years, it'll get dust and grime and stuff like that on, like, whatever, like, part that might be lubricated. So, like, you know, you really want to just kind of, like, swash that out, and the way to do that is with lighter fluid. So I'm gonna just wrap this kind of at the bottom with plastic wrap, because I've had this before and I didn't put it, like, in a Tupperware, and I kind of just, like, set it on, like, my desk, like, you know, like, my table, and, like, you know, I had lighter fluid dripping out of the bottom of it. So I know to wrap it in plastic wrap, and I know to put it in a little tiny dish that's around its size. So you don't have to be, like, very careful about it. I'm going to just go like that. I'm going to take a bottle of RONZOIL, of course. Like, you know, if you're doing anything with cameras, you, of course, have a bottle of RONZOIL in the house. You probably also smoke cigarettes, so you have a lighter that you have to refill, probably. So I'm just going to take some lighter fluid. I'm going to literally pour it in the hole right here, where the lens would have been, and I'm just going to, like, kind of swish it around. And I'm going to say that this would be the first step. If this doesn't alleviate, if this doesn't really kind of, like, disintegrate all the gunk and junk that might be caught in the rotary shutter and the spindle, and I'm kind of going to just, like, give it a little swirl. I would say do it another 2 or 3 times. It took me about 3 or 4 times to get this camera to a point that it actually has a consistently nice sounding shutter speed. I've never tested it before, but but I guess I'd like my step 2 of this video. I can show you how to shutter test a shutter with a CRT, with like just a regular TV, which is also just as easy to get as a shutter tester probably at this point, but I just got a good deal on a CRT, so I'm gonna just do that eventually. But I'm just gonna kind of like, you know, like just like slosh this around a little bit, and you can hear, or you'll hear some parts moving around inside of it. That's fine. It's built like, you know, in 1938. These cameras were designed to like survive the war, the Second World War. So they're pretty these are the cameras that can keep up with me. If you haven't known me before, I'm the one who shoots stereo realists all the time. In fact, I invented a new technique of shooting the stereo realist, which is to shoot it upside down. Much easier than the way it was supposed to be designed for. And you're gonna let this sit for like maybe about like 5-10 minutes, and like, you know, you can come back on it and like, you know, like slosh it around a little bit, and your shutter will actually go off a lot faster, but it will eventually jam up again. So you're going to want to do this maybe one more time or 2 more times before you really kind of dissolve and disintegrate all the gunk and the dirt and the dust that might have accumulated over the course of 80 something years, and before it gets dissolved, and then your rotary shutter can like rotate properly. So if it doesn't do it on the first trick, or specifically if it does do it on the first trick, I wouldn't put a roll of film in it just yet. I would give it a day and see if the shutter seizes up or slows down a little bit first, and then revisit it with another bath of RONZOIL that you'll be sloshing around in and try. And you do this for like 2 or 3 times until your shutter kind of consistently sounds like it is rotating properly at like a speed that is not as slow as you heard right now. Again, I don't have a shutter tester on me. I will do, I promise I will do another program, a little a video on how to test it on a CRT, because that's literally the only method I have, and it's a pretty accurate method. And once you do this, there are, I never actually like went back in with like some like mineral oil or like some like lithium grease on that. My shutter has actually like kept on rotating very well after that, and my rolls of film that I got back are pretty decent. And they're properly exposed-ish. Like, I mean, like half the time I'm shooting from the hip, so like I'm really not like judging it very well from the get-go. But it's something that is a very easy fix for a very, very unique and beautiful and really like an iconic camera. The Universal Camera Corporation was it's really unknown to photographers. Really, the only people that I've ever met that know anything about the Universal Camera Corporation are like a New York City real estate agents that have to like, you know, like or like property managers that have to basically like sell a property in the building, and so they know like the whole entire story of what happened to the Universal Camera Corporation, which is a absolutely, it's one of the most. I'm surprised it's not made into a movie yet. And the other people that know about the Universal Camera Corporation are lawyers, because and there's a book that's written on it. And one of the things that is missing from the book is the Universal Camera Corporation versus like NBLA, like the National Labor Board of America, and it went to the Supreme Court and it set precedents. It's a case cited by like thousands and thousands of other cases. It's one of the like the seminal labor law cases in that has ever been in the United States, and it's something that kind of skipped over really the photography community, because the Universal Camera Corporation was deliberately erased out of history. And I'm doing a bit of research on that. So I just wanted to do this very quickly to show everybody literally what I was doing. What I was doing was taking off the lens, squirting a bunch of RONZOIL in here, and I'm sloshing it around. I don't even have to do like this. I'm just doing this for like, you know, just kind of a little bit for show. I could just leave this on the table wipe my hands off and go. I'll dump that out and I'll wait a day and I'll see how the shutter is. In fact, I'll come back to this video in about like 10 minutes and show you how the shutter is. And I'll show you how it is in another day, and I'll show you how it is in another day. So you can see how it kind of, like, you know, like it will disintegrate and it will remove all the dust and the gunk that are like, you know, like the real, like the outside caked type of stuff. And then you'll need to do another bath perhaps and another bath perhaps, but that's about it. And once you do that and your shutter is consistently spinning at a speed that you can hear that it might sound pretty consistent, you might have a perfectly working shutter at that point. This is one of the easiest cameras in the world to really service, and I wouldn't even call this servicing. This is just a hack that I like found out on, like, you know, reading a bunch of like old school message boards. So this is just to let everybody know that the Mercury II or the Mercury CC, which would be called like the Mercury I nowadays, I guess, but is one of the most resilient, one of the most well-designed, and one of the most everlasting and just accurate down to the point that its shutter has been tested by, like, you know, people who actually know what they're doing professionally, and can verify that the shutter speed really does hold true even after 80 years. And for me to do this with a thing of lighter food is it's a pretty awesome thing. So that's it. That's my live stream, and that's under a half an hour. Look at that. And that's it. I'll talk to you guys after I slosh that around a little bit. Bye.